There's just one thing you didn't account for. One white going hard as a human wrench into the system who inspires millions. There's just one thing you didn't count on.
The Republican Party is tearing itself apart.
That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds, blacks, America's foreign policy, and America's Constitution.
Whoa, you're sounding like you're giving me like Bill Maher, Rachel Maddow. What is this? I thought Shapiro was against SJWs. Now he sounds like one of them.
Nick Fuentes has officially started a civil war between his Groypers and the old school MAGA movement, and they're battling for control of the Republican Party and its future.
He's getting squeezed because the Groypers are on the one hand saying, hey, listen, fat boy, we want America first. You want to run for president? We want to hear you say America first. So he doesn't want to condemn the Groypers.
If they get their way, they will hollow out the Republican Party, lead it to electoral catastrophe, and empty it and the country of any semblance of decency in the process.
Which is really bad timing considering the blue wave is actually real and things are not looking good for Republicans in the midterm.
And as far as the Trump impact on the Cheryl voters, the reason for their vote, the Cheryl voters vote, those who said that they wanted to oppose the sitting president, 71% of them. So this is really what led to the outcome tonight.
But as far as Nick Fuentes goes, the gloves are off. He has smoke for anyone and everyone.
And now they're all in favor of a fat race mixer who's married to a Jeet who named his son Vivek, who was mentored by a Jewish neocon and a gay fed, Peter Thiel, and the guy's in bed with fucking Israel. And that's your guy? You're a token. Hey, man, shit. Hey, man, Tucker, them some shit. Hey, man. He's a idiot.
Now let's be clear, MAGA was already a racist, white supremacist evolution of the Bush-era Republican Party. And people like to forget, but the Republicans courted and nurtured racism to regain power with the Southern strategy. So Republicans being racist is far from new. But Nick Fuentes' rise, popularity, and influence of Gen Z has completely blindsided the MAGA establishment. But what started as policy disagreements has turned into a full-on generational power struggle within the Republican right.
Now, if Vance condemns the Groypers, we are deploying to Iowa and one primary after the next. And we will go to every town hall. We will go to every meet and greet where there's 4 or 5 people, and we will be there.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it. Ben Shapiro actually came out swinging against Nick Fuentes with this tweet that went mega viral with 31 million views. No to the Groypers. No to the cowards like Tucker Carlson, who normalized their trash. No to those who champion them. No to demoralization. No to bigotry and anti-meritocratic horseshit. No to anti-Americanism. No. He actually didn't stop with just a call out because he felt like Tucker Carlson was humanizing and cleaning up Nick Fuentes' image.
The fragmentation of the political right. That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds, blacks, America's foreign policy, and America's Constitution. They admire Hitler and Stalin, and that splinter faction is now being facilitated and normalized within the mainstream Republican Party. The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend. And Tucker Carlson last week was aided, abetted, celebrated for normalizing Nazism within the Republican Party by the mainstay organization of the traditional right, the Heritage Foundation. Fuentes has a large audience of alienated young white men in particular, and he's earned increased media attention over the course of the past few years, especially over the last year. Tucker Carlson decided that it was important not only to host Fuentes, but to smooth over his views, water them down, and make them far more palatable to a normal audience. To understand just what Tucker did here, we must actually examine what Nick Fuentes says on his show, and has said for almost a decade.
So he shared some of his wildest clips, like him saying women want to be great.
A lot of women want to be raped, and when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that, but there's like a lot of women that really want a guy to beat the shit out of them. but also they have to pretend, but part of it is they have to pretend like they don't.
For him radicalizing his followers and getting them to basically pledge allegiance to him.
Raise your right hand. All right, everybody raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I will kill and die for Nicholas J. Fuentes.
In another clip where Nick shares his incel views on women.
I will continue my crusade against women in politics. It's always like this, and it's so ironic. Women are like, I don't like, when you say, I like it, you have to affect the face. When you say to repeal the 19th Amendment, that offends me. That hurts my feelings. It's like, have you ever stopped and considered that maybe if you get offended, there's such a strong emotional reaction to political opinions you disagree with across the board. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you shouldn't be making political decisions. I'm not attacking women. I'm attacking whores. You have no problems, right? I'm attacking whores. I'm attacking sluts. Stupid, dirty bitches.
And of course, the white supremacist MAGA favorite talking point that Jim Crow wasn't that bad for black people.
It was better for them too, number one, but number two, who cares? Who cares? You know, enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, they had to drink out of a different water fountain. Big fucking deal. Oh no, they had to go to a different school. Their water fountain in that famous picture was worse. Who cares? Grow up, drink out of the fucking water fountain. It's water, it's the same. You know, and, you know, even if it was bad, who cares? Who cares? It's better. It's better in general. We all agree it was better for them. It's better for us.
And of course, probably one of his latest clips where he justifies white people being racist.
Reason that we talk about this, by the way, I know a lot of black people see this and they go, man, why are you always talking about black people, this and that? Because there just needs to be some shame here. Well, there's a few reasons. First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
And they're praising Hitler because, of course, all of these white supremacists love them some Hitler.
Buddy, it's Führer Friday. It is Hitler Friday. Shut up. It is Heil Hitler Friday. Heil Hitler. All my Nazis. Hitler was a and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really cool. So, you know, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. And once again, remember who is responsible for it all: the Jews.
And Ben Shapiro called out not only Nick Fuentes for being a little Nazi troll, but also Tucker Carlson for normalizing him and his extreme views, and the Heritage Foundation, which is basically the Republican Party, for supporting Tucker Carlson.
Why is all of this happening? Because, like the Democratic Party, the Republican Party is being eaten by its radicals. Many in the political class are too cowardly to stand up. Apparently, they're willing to play footsie with Groypers and hug Tucker Carlson out of fear of somehow losing support. They've been bamboozled by the lies of the X algorithm and the TikTok metrics. Americans hate Nick Fuentes' philosophy. They think it's trash. Republicans, by the polling, think it's trash. Independents think it's trash. Democrats think it's trash. And here's the other thing. Americans hate Tucker Carlson's laundered anti-Americanism. Republicans think it's trash, independents think it's trash, Democrats think it's trash. If they get their way, they will hollow out the Republican Party, lead it to electoral catastrophe, and empty it and the country of any semblance of decency in the process.
And a lot of people had thoughts on Ben Shapiro's video. Must watch. Do they not understand Nick Fuentes has already won and they have already lost? Yeah, as terrible, racist, and weird as Nick Fuentes is, he definitely is influential and is the voice of the future of the Republican Party. This is your party and movement, Ben. You created it. You made millions off hate. You unleashed these freaks on us all, and now they've turned on you. Own it. Nick Fuentes is MAGA's true identity. Ben Shapiro, you aligned yourself with this for many years and only speak out when you feel your identity is attacked. But you've contributed to the same white supremacist ideology and tore down black communities and others for acceptance, only to find out the hard way, like everyone else, that you will never be one of them. Typical MAGA talking point. What's interesting about Nick is he doesn't hide his racism behind a curtain of lies and even calls you other racists out for acting like you're not. If you have to give Nick Fuentes one thing, he definitely wears his beliefs on his sleeve, which I think is what's so appealing to Gen Z, that he just says whatever he he wants, and he's more popular than ever now. And he's absolutely right, because people like Ben Shapiro didn't have a problem with Nick Fuentes being racist or a little Nazi or sexist or any of the foul shit that he said over the years. They only have a problem now because he's attacking them and their people. And of course, Nick Fuentes responded to Ben Shapiro in the most Nick Fuentes way possible, just being goofy.
But today, it was a clip show. Today, it was like a full-fledged Fuentes Updates clip show. It was like America's Funniest Videos. One clip after the other. 40 minutes, no ads. That's how you know they mean business. When Ben Shapiro turns down the money from the advertisers, when Ben Shapiro doesn't do, let's say, 50 ad reads in a 50-minute video, that's how you know they mean business. He will literally do an ad read at a pro-life march. In person, he will give a speech in real life at a pro-life march about abortion, and he will stop and do an ad read for ZipRecruiter. But when you're talking about anti-Semitism, there's simply no time. There's no time. We mean business, because this is something we really care about. No ads, 40-minute video, and about 50% of it was just my clips. Fuentes says, Fuentes that, he's a Nazi, sexist, Holocaust denier. Whoa, you're sounding like, you're giving me like Bill Maher or Rachel Maddow. What is this? I thought Shapiro was against SJWs. Now he sounds like one of them. I thought he was against liberal tears and cancel culture and safe spaces. Now you sound like one of them. So first, Nick Fuentes said a sexist thing, then he said a racist thing, then he said a Nazi thing and an anti-Semitic thing. He's a white supremacist. It's Hillary Clinton. Racist, sexist, homophobic. It's literally the basket of deplorables clip. And so we'll go through, we'll talk about his little response. And I say little because he doesn't get views anymore. It's pathetic. Candace Owens is doing 10 times. What does she get? 2-3 million views on a video? He's lucky to crack 500,000.
And all of this comes at a time when the New York Times is writing entire articles on Nick Fuentes being the front runner for the face of the Republican Party. Nick Fuentes was Charlie Kirk's bitter enemy. Now he's becoming his successor. The New York Times has it on good authority that 40% of Republican DC staffers under 30 are Groypers. Of course they are. The conservative writer Rob Dreher, a close friend of Vance, warned, I'm told by someone in a position to know, that something like 30 to 40% of DC GOP staffers under the age of 30 are Groypers. The figure is impossible to check, but it captures a widespread sense that Fuentes' politics are ascendant. That's not hard to see, guess, or imagine. You can look online on a site like X and just see how racist and toxic and sexist and misogynistic everything is. These people to the right, conservatives, Republicans, MAGA, neo-Nazis, whatever you want to call them, they don't like anybody that's not white. And what's happening now, people with these extreme ideologies like Nick Fuentes and his Groyper followers that are unhappy with the Trump administration are now attacking them just like they do everybody else. Nick Fuentes on J.D. Vance.
So all they talk about is going to the gym, being a vitalist, fighting the Matrix, India smells bad, all this kind of shit. And now they're all in favor of a fat race mixer who's married to a Jeet who named his son Vivek, who was mentored by a Jewish neocon and a gay Fed, Peter Thiel, and the guy's in bed with fucking Israel. And that's your guy? And I'm the controlled opposition, really? Your guy is literally a fat gay race trader who married a Jeet, who works for a gay Fed, a Fed informant, a CIA contractor, mentored by a Jewish neocon, and the dude's in bed with Israel. And he wears eyeliner.
And it's so funny that people are acting like they just realized how popular and influential Nick Fuentes was. If true, this is a very dangerous development. Of course it's true. Of course these people are racist and have huge following, which means those people are racist, because why else would they be following them? And I think this tweet really points out the hypocrisy in this whole MAGA civil war. The Groypers are to MAGA what MAGA was to Bush Republicans 10 years ago. The Republicans have been racist and anti-black and anti a lot of other things for a very long time. It got worse with the Tea Party. It got even worse with MAGA. And now it's even worse with the Groypers who have gained influence. And now old MAGA, who isn't racist enough or extreme enough for the Groypers, are afraid that they're losing control of their party, which they are. And Nick Fuentes is calling them out on it.
Because the Groypers are on the one hand saying, hey, listen, fat boy, we want America first. You want to run for president? We want to hear you say America first. And on the other side, he's got his donors, And they're saying they're horrible anti-Semites. You have to disavow them. You have to forcefully condemn them. Condemn Tucker. Condemn the Groypers. Now, if Vance condemns the Groypers, we are deploying to Iowa. Raise your right hand. I swear I'm going to move to Iowa and New Hampshire and Nevada and South Carolina and one primary after the next. And we will go to every town hall. We will go to every meet and greet where there's 4 or 5 people, and we will be there. And we'll do it for free. People will drive there for free, and they will follow Vance around and ask him, when will you put America first? Why would you condemn the young white men of America and sell out to our elites? We'll be there. We'll be in Iowa. We'll be in every primary and caucus state. So he doesn't want to condemn the Groypers.
Nick Fuentes is a little weasel, but he is not wrong at all about his power and influence in the party. I mean, this dude literally just called the vice president fat and talked about his wife and kids. And we haven't heard a peep from Vance. Sign of the time. Talking with some of the interns, I think that there are a growing number of them who actually agree with the views Fuentes espoused, which is all racist, anti-Semitic, anti-everybody else. The Groyper movement has quietly infiltrated the Republican Party and Republican-adjacent networks. This is no joke. Young Republicans groups, TPUSA, think tanks, staff on the Hill, these ideas, sentiments, and prejudices are literally everywhere now. This is what happens when you decide that character doesn't matter in politics. You enable this kind of movement to rise. Exactly, MAGA was cool with it as long as it was working for them. But as soon as there was a split, that energy, toxicity, onlineness, incelness, Nazism all became too much for them. And they know it's damaging their brand when they're already on the brink of losing the midterms in the blue wave. And right now, the Republican Party is really starting to wake up to the threat of Nick Fuentes and the Groypers and what they're bringing in and doing to their party. It's so weird that anybody will be black and MAGA, considering MAGA doesn't like black people. Like, that's like a black person being a Groyper. What are you doing?
I'm telling you, if the GOP, if the Republican Party, J.D. Vance, Trump, and I love Trump, but if our leaders don't distance themselves from Tucker, if he's going to platform people like Nick Fuentes, I'm telling you, you're going to lose the black vote, the Hispanic vote, and the conservative woman vote. You're going to lose the Christian vote. These people are going to destroy the coalition that Trump has built. Me and others, Brandon Tatum's, the guy from PragerU, so many of us black conservatives have worked so hard to convince our people, the little people that have listened to us, that the Republican Party, and I know it's not true, but you know how it looks to black people and to Hispanics, that Tucker Carlson, one of the biggest voices of the right, is platforming a man that called black people N-words, that has publicly said that black people are inferior mentally, publicly, who spoke against interracial marriage, who has praised Hitler and Stalin. I like Tucker Carlson, and I'm not trying to cancel Tucker Carlson, but you cannot platform white supremacists and think that black people are going to support you.
And if nothing else, Nick Fuentes is an equal opportunity smoke giver.
You're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views.
There's this guy called Officer Tatum, aka Officer Talmud. You should watch his 30 minutes crash to Nick Fuentes x Tucker Carlson interview. Lol, and his comments are filled with Zios who despise you.
Why would I? He's an idiot. Hey man, shit. Hey man, Tucker, them some. Hey man, he's a f***ing idiot. Brandon Tatum is an idiot. Dumbest person I've ever heard. He should get an education. Officer Tatum should get an education. He should learn how to fucking read.
Byron Donalds, running for governor of Florida, condemns anti-Semitism. Nick Fuentes ratios him within 1 minute. If you don't see where this is heading, you're just not paying attention. Our party has always stood for the Constitution, civil rights, free speech, freedom of religion, and limited government. We will never stand for twisted ideologies of Marxism, totalitarianism, bigotry, and anti-Semitism. We will not stand idly by as our Jewish neighbors are demonized. Bro, standing up for the Jewish community. He got 1,000 likes, and in 3 minutes, Nick Fuentes got 1.5 thousand. Saying, good boy, like, come on, man. And the fact that all these people are still shocked there's so much racism in the Republican Party is wild to me. Have they been under a rock since the Tea Party days when they were super racist to Obama? A shocking report that pervasive racism has been discovered in the Republican Party. Look at the abuse Vivek is getting for posting an innocuous photo with his boys. This is the shit show that Heritage and Tucker have brought upon us. If this continues, I will not be surprised to see mass desertions of blacks, why are you there in the first place? Latinos, why are you there in the first place? And other minorities from the GOP. Unreal. What did he post? Happy Halloween. My man just posted a picture with his kids. Your Indian kids aren't the flex that you seem to think they are. And when you use them like this, they're no longer off limits. Use them, he just took a picture with his kids. Poop Jeet, go back to India. Crazy. Imagine much happier Halloween would be for all of us if you and your family lived in your ancestral homeland of India. That's crazy, and all that sounds like Nick Fuentes speak. And of course, some people were fighting back against Nick Fuentes. On behalf of the Republican Party, I like to not so politely tell you that we don't need your support and wouldn't take it if offered. You actively campaigned against us in 2024 and we turned out just fine. You can take your Pakistan basement dwellers and vote for Imran Khan. Mans is 5'6" with a whiny voice and gets and gets no buns. Anybody that listens or looks up to this dude is a complete loser. There are a lot of losers, incels, all of that out there that look up to Nick Fuentes because they see themselves in him. And again, the old guard of the Republican Party, people that we all thought were extremists at one point, I still think they're extremists. But now Nick Fuentes is so much more extreme than them, are speaking out against them. These people really sat around like cartoon villains and thought all we had to do was infiltrate MAGA, control Donald Trump, overthrow Charlie Kirk, and then we'll dictate to the base what real MAGA is. And this tweet really sums up this MAGA civil war that we're seeing right now. Republicans win with the Southern strategy to win over white Democrats angry about civil rights. They used Atwater's coded language in the 80s because they couldn't say the N-word. They courted white Christian nationalists with W. Bush. They went Tea Party after Obama was elected. They embraced Trumpism and rejected the multicultural outreach. Now, the Groypers, neo-Nazis, anti-Semites, and hate-mongers have taken over and will get rid of MAGA, who have become rhinos. Inevitable. 100% facts. Ever since Trump won his second term, Nick has been very outspoken about his unhappiness with the direction that MAGA was going. And at this point, he is just openly against the Republican Party as it is, even threatening to keep his followers from voting most likely for Vance in the next presidential election.
And I don't say this out of bitterness, and I don't say this for any personal reasons. I will not vote for Republicans. I will not deliver my audience to vote for Republicans if Republicans don't put America first. And if Republicans lose because they're not willing to do that, I am perfectly happy to allow them to do that to themselves, but don't blame me.
At the end of the day, what we're seeing now was always going to happen because as extreme as MAGA is compared to conventional Republicans, the new MAGA, the younger generation, the Groypers, are even more extreme than that, except they're very outspoken with their views, policies, and beliefs, which is a whole lot of racism, sexism, and America first, with that really only pertaining to white people. Republicans were fine with racism among them as long as it was targeted outward, but now that this extremism is in the party and attacking other party members, it's become a problem, but they're trying to address it way too late. Whether anybody likes it or not, a little weasel like Nick Fuentes is the most influential voice maybe outside of Trump in the Republican Party, which again, with those extreme views and hatred, are going to hurt the Republicans at a time that they have the most unlikable president in modern history. Not to mention they're facing a blue wave next year, so the Republican Party as we know it is in real danger. But thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.